guys, I hate that I do this. It's an instinct at this point. Hey guys, it's Sabrina, and today I'm going to be doing a quick book unhaul. I say quick because it's like, what can I really say about these books, except for most of them I just don't want to keep. That's it, really, you know? Now, I'm going to be donating all these books to prisons in my state, which I highly recommend that all of you guys check out, because there's a lot of programs throughout the country for that. And personally, I hate with a passion giving my books to like Goodwill or Salval for them to just make money off of it and then be shitty companies and do shitty things. So I would so much rather my book go to people in prisons because I think they would enjoy them so much more. Obviously, not all of these books I didn't like. The ones that I didn't like, I'll definitely tell you why, but a lot of these are just books that I just didn't feel like keeping. Like, I don't think I'll continue reading them or recommending them to anyone else. So yeah, let's just get into it. First book I have here is A Breath of Snow and Ashes by Diana Gabaldon. I don't even know what number this is in the Outlander series. It could be like 6, but I just pulled that number out of thin air, so I have no idea. It's in there somewhere. This book I'm unhauling because I actually unhauled most of the series already the last time I went through my books. I kept just Outlander and Dragonfly and Amber because I liked those two, and after that they just kind of got long and boring for me. So I figured I'd give up the rest of the series. This one just didn't fit in all the boxes I shipped last time, so it's gonna go now. The next book is Clive Barker's Aberrat? I don't know what this is, I'm gonna be honest, that's why I'm getting rid of it. My sister gave this to me when she went through all of her books years ago, and I took it because I take every single book that someone will offer me, but I'm not gonna read this. I don't know what this is, and I'm not that interested in it either from what the back says, so donating. These next few books are actually books that I enjoyed, I'm pretty sure. It is the Chaos, I don't know why I held it back here for so long. It's the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. So like The Knife and Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monsters with Ben. I actually remember really liking this series, or at least really liking the first and second book. I don't remember the ending, how I felt about it. It's really cool. There's this place where everyone can hear everyone else's thoughts. Like, they're just kind of amplified all the time. Also, everyone's a boy. And then one day, this one boy is walking around and he meets someone whose thoughts he can't hear. I really liked this series, but I don't feel like it's one that's ever been one of my favorites. I don't feel like I'm going to read it again or loan it out to someone, so I don't really feel like it needs to be in my collection. I think for now I'm just gonna give these to my dad because I think my dad might like this. Next is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. This book is a YA fantasy. It takes place in like a desert setting. Follows a main character who basically wants to escape her village or wherever she grew up, or I think it's for a reason, but I don't remember. And I read this recently, like I read this in December, so I think that says enough about how much I liked it. I think I might have given it 3 stars, but it hasn't stuck with me. Again, don't want to reread it, don't really think I'm going to give it to anyone. Want to give it to someone who will like it better. Next is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica L. Sanchez. This one I actually thought about keeping. It follows our main character Julia, and Julia's sister was always like the perfect daughter to her parents. And then her sister mysteriously dies, and Julia is left in the wake of this trying to figure out what happened and also grieving a lot, and also having to deal with her parents' expectations. I like this book. I thought it was a solid YA. Contemporary is really not my thing though, so I think someone else will enjoy this better than I will having it collect dust on my shelf. This one's kind of random. Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I haven't read this one. This is the only one out of the stack I have here that I haven't read. That's not true, there's one other. But this is the only one I'm still interested in reading. Basically, I'm like severely emotionally attached to the Penguin Clothbound classics. So I grabbed this from my sister a while ago, but then I want the Penguin Clothbound classic version of this book instead. So I'm gonna get that one. But this one's in perfect condition, so I think it's a good one to donate. Next is Fever 1793 by Laurie Hulse Anderson. This one I might keep just because I was interested in it. I read this fairly recently. I think I may have given it like 3 stars. I did like it. It just wasn't a favorite. It follows a yellow fever outbreak in Philadelphia in 1793 and like a young girl living through that. Again, I liked the story, wasn't crazy about it. I might keep it just because I was really interested in the historical information it gave you about the outbreak and about how people responded to it. I thought that was cool, but at the end of the day, I don't need this. Then I've got Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, or Mantel, I don't know. This is a really popular historical fiction novel that follows Thomas Cromwell during the reign of Henry VIII. I don't get the hype around this. I really don't. It was boring. I had to drag my way through it. There was a lot of politics, but I don't think it's interesting political intrigue. Like, the way that it was written, it was just boring and dry. I was hoping when I went into it that it would be kind of like, I hate saying Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones is a fantasy, but Game of Thrones has a lot of political intrigue and you never know what's going to happen next. And this is based off of history, so it's not going to be as fantastical. But I was hoping it would still be interesting, and I did not think it was interesting. But since it's such a well-loved book, hopefully someone else will love it. Next, I'm also getting rid of The Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. This is a really forgettable YA fantasy for me. Like, that's the only thing I can say about this, because I can't even remember the book well enough to critique it. So. Then we arrive at our last two books, which are related. Edge of Eternity by Ken Follett and The Pillars of the Earth by the same author. I read this one, and I didn't like it, so that's why I'm getting rid of this one. I don't want to read anything by him again. Now, the book that I did read, Pillars of the Earth, was awful. I didn't get all the way through it because I hated it, and I didn't want to do that to myself because it's such a long book. This is another very popular historical fiction, and one that I was super psyched about because I always hear this one recommended. It's supposed to follow this guy who wants to build a cathedral, and that was enough for me to be interested, even though it sounds really boring. I was still into it, but oh my god, the writing in this was atrocious. It was so boring. It had every single stereotypical depiction of women that you can think of. None of the female characters were interesting or well thought out or developed. Like, one of the main characters is the most boring, uninteresting person on the planet, but then these women keep falling madly in love with him for no reason. And then on top of that, there was a lot of sexual violence, and there was one specific scene where I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. You are not only being incredibly sexist towards all of these female characters, but then this actually has to happen. Like, it's not just the characters being bad, it's also like sexual violence I have to read. And I have to read it written by a man who's already misogynistic and sexist based off of his portrayal of female characters. I can't do it. I hated this. I'm so excited for this to leave my bedroom and my space. And there you have it, guys. That is my unhaul. That's just a mini one. I feel like I'm gonna need to do these on, honestly, maybe a bi-monthly basis. I just have so many books, as you can see, and I can't have all of these in my life all the time. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye! I hate myself.